Have you ever in your life done something, made a decision, and then shortly after making that decision you thought, what the hell was I thinking? Well, that was me recently. Good morning everyone, and welcome back to Horticulture. My name is Laura, and on today's episode we are going to be planting a whole lot of strawberries. Looked around at my planting charts and tried to figure out what I was going to be planting, how much of each crop I needed to plant. As some of you know, one of my continued pursuits for my family is to not only grow but sustain 90% of the growth and production of our own food consumption. Easier said than done, but in order to do that you have to prepare for it. You have to methodically think through all of the different steps, not just the end result. And so I went through and looked at my blueprint, looked at my numbers of how much my family consumes for each crop. And we eat one fruit per day, one fruit per meal every single day. And strawberries are always at the top of the list, especially for my kids. So I realized, okay, I need to probably expand our strawberries, and some of them were negatively impacted by aphids, so I figured I probably should order some. Well, I don't know if I was drinking wine or if what the state of my mind was at the time of ordering, but I ended up ordering 225 strawberry starts of 3 different varieties, and I have no idea where I'm going to put them. It's an oversight on my part. I remember ordering them, but we never stop here, so we're in the middle of building out infrastructure, a fencing location for our goats that we're getting in a few weeks. My kids and I decided to start a new homeschooling project where we're incubating 25 to 30 new chickens. They're on day like 10, so I only have another 11 days before they're hatching, and I have to have a place for them. We're also trying to get things prepped for the botanical back-to-eating garden and our main back-to-eating garden that we've grown food in the last 2 years. And then on top of all of that, we're planting, I think a few weeks ago I planted 92 onions, and that was just one type of crop. So you can imagine my seed starting areas are consuming a lot of time too, because not only do I multi-sow them, but then I separate them and get them all prepped up and really designated to go to certain spots across this property. So the good thing is, on a positive note, we have an opportunity here to take these strawberry starts and place them in different locations, different environments, and then over time we can assess which ones were most productive. So that's what this episode is going to be. We're going to plant some in the deep water culture. We're going to plant some in the raised media beds, all in the aquaponics setup. We're going to plant some in our mini hydroponic systems that were done from recycled old storage bins. We're going to plant some in cloth pots. We're going to plant some directly in the ground and anywhere else I can find, because there's a lot of these. This is the mini hydroponics. I had already prepped up a tub. I did a quick video on how you can do this fun short project of upcycling an old storage bin into a mini hydroponic system in a different video, so you guys can check that out if you want to try this one. I'm going to go ahead and add my nutrients to this system here. I didn't have any more space in the greenhouse. Normally I would do it in there because if it rains and whatnot, it does modify the adjustments and the levels in the system, which I want to mitigate. But you know, you got to work with what you got. So I'm going to add these nutrients, and then I'm going to fill her up, put the lid on it, and the lid of course has the holes so that the netting cups can sink down in them, and then the strawberries go in. So let's get this part started. Alright, now as I'm filling this up, I am constantly looking to see if it's level. If it's not, then I of course will adjust it, because I don't want this to be unlevel, for the simple reason that if it is, all of the roots won't hit at the same level, so they're not going to be able to absorb the nutrients through the root system. So, figure it on the fly. Just my personal experience tip is I always like compartmentalize gardening in a way that I don't become overwhelmed, and I can prep up one portion of the process before the next portion needs to happen, so that I'm not flustered trying to like rush and do everything at the same time. So I first went ahead and got each of the strawberry starts into the netting cups, got them set up. I counted the number of holes in this particular bin lid that I had done weeks back, and so I knew exactly how many I needed, and once this is filled up, it's as simple as dropping the cups in, slapping the top on, and you're good to go. So we're almost at that point. Now it was around this point where about 2/3 of this bin is filled with water that I'm actually going to remove the water, and I'm going to drop on the lid now. And the reason why is because the lid actually helps hold the container together. You figure when you're putting this much water into a plastic tub, it will expand the tub. So the sooner you can get the lid on and locked in, the better. I usually use zip ties, and these particular buckets have these little insert holes. So I just loop in the, can't think this morning, I loop in the zip ties on one side so I still have an access point to lift the lid up. I'll probably add them to the ends here so I can lift the lid up this way, and then I will continue filling this up through one of the holes. Now with any plant, especially in this setup, you want an air layer, right? You want a layer where the roots can breathe. So you don't want to fill them up to the point where they're choking out the bottom of the cup too much. And that's why I usually will put a few of these strawberry runners that have different length root systems in while I'm filling it up, because I can see through to understand how much more water I need to add before it's at that right point. All right, ready?